Right, so with the October event taking place very soon, we do have case listings for the budget iPads, so let's delve into it. So yes, usually when we start to see case listings for a product, that does mean the release is going to be near. So of course, March leak rumors have been suggesting we should see this iPad launch at the October event. But let's delve into the details this case gives us. So this case was found on Amazon Japan, and by the way, we did see iPad Pro M2 cases on Amazon Japan as well, so that makes me wonder, why do we keep getting cases of unreleased products via Amazon Japan and not other variants of Amazon? I'm not too sure myself. But either way, yes, we have a listing for the iPad 10, and this gives us some very exciting details. So looking at the images they share with the listing, of course, you can see this iPad looks near identical to the iPad Air 5 and of course, the iPad Pros. It has super thin bezels, it has Apple Pencil 2 support with the flat sides. This looks perfect. However, I do kind of have my doubts about these images because do remember, these case manufacturers get no details about the product from Apple before release, and so this image is based on predictions and leaks they've heard about. And while as many of you guys know, the leaks regarding the design for this new budget iPad has been all over the place, and so yes, it would not surprise me if most of this image is actually false. And yeah, do remember, these case manufacturers only get access to rough CADs, they don't have specific details of the products, just the dimensions and cutouts. And so the front of the iPad we see in this image is most likely false. And actually, it's pretty clear it's false when you read the description for this product. They say the dimensions are going to be bigger than the iPad Air 5, which would make no sense because this would not get Magic Keyboard support, and Apple never specifically makes accessories for this iPad. But also, more importantly, they say the display is going to be 10.5 inches. And so body that's bigger than the iPad Air 5, but of course, with a display that's smaller, definitely would not result in relatively thin bezels like, of course, these bezels depict. And so I do have a feeling that MySmartPrice is going to be right, and we're going to get a slightly larger display on the front, but of course with the forehead and chin and the home button on the front. I am still puzzled this is bigger than the iPad Air 5 though, because as I said, this needs first-party keyboard support, and the existing smart keyboard's not going to work with a flat design, so of course, giving this compatibility to the iPad Pro keyboards would make the most sense, but maybe Apple's going to rely on third parties to make keyboards for this iPad. Anyways, other details to note are of course the flat sides allowing for Apple Pencil 2 support. This is going to be a major upgrade for this iPad, and it also means we're getting Type-C with this iPad. Also, unlike MySmartPrice's renders, the camera module's more similar to the iPad Air 5 in this case leak, and that does make sense because the MySmartPrice CADs had a super wide cutout with a flash, which would not make sense, and overall visually this looks like a better sensor than of course the iPad Air 5 and the iPad mini, which would not make sense. And so retaining the single cutouts for the sensor on the back with a mic underneath makes the most sense. Then again, like I said, case manufacturers have no idea about the final design of the product, and so this could be a mere prediction, but of course, I'm hoping this is the case. Now, unfortunately, the case listing provides no details about the release, though to be honest, in the past, case listings have been completely false about the release of the product. For example, M2 iPad Pro cases had a release date of September 7, which of course was the iPhone event. That did suggest that maybe we saw these iPads release at the September event instead, but that was not the case. So yes, it's fair to say case manufacturers have no details regarding the release of the product. By the way, a few additional tidbits. Yes, there are 4 speaker holes in these images, but that does not mean we're getting quad speakers like MySmartPrice did suggest. Instead, we should see the dual stereo speakers the iPad Air 5 has. Also, unlike Makatakara suggested, the camera is not at the top of the device in landscape, and this makes sense because personally I see that coming to the iPad Pros as an exclusive upgrade. Also seemingly the power button has Touch ID, but of course, I still think this iPad's going to retain the home button on the front, so I doubt we're going to see this. And actually regarding dimensions, there is some bad news because this case is thicker than the equivalent iPad 9 case and iPad Air 5 case, so that does unfortunately suggest the panel on this is still not going to be laminated. And yeah, this really does suck, I can't lie, because I'd much rather take the older iPad Air 3 design, but of course with a panel that's laminated, than this new design with flat sides and an archaic display on the front. So yes, I'm praying this part of this case listing's false, and we do get a panel that's bigger but also laminated with this budget iPad. And yes, I know a panel that's not laminated is of course much easier to fix, but I think the pros of having a panel that's laminated does outweigh the cons. Anyways, let's delve into your comments. So David says, with many suffering financially, keeping the price down is important. And yes, I agree with that. Inflation is super high right now, so of course, many don't have a lot to splurge on new iPads, and so I'm sure that Apple's going to consider this when pricing this budget iPad. However, I do also want to mention that of course, many of us were expecting the SE3 to stay the same price, but due to the cost of producing these devices increasing massively, that has resulted in some price hikes. And so I would not be surprised if that's the case with the budget iPads, though of course, maybe Apple in return does give us more aggressive trade-in promos to make these iPads more accessible to consumers. Then again, Apple can of course shrink their profit margins and make the money back through services, and so yes, ultimately I would temper your expectations regarding the price, but hopefully there's no price increase. So Midnight Blue says, bruh, I'm just gonna buy the 9th gen iPads, not gonna pay $399 for this, and no, I don't like USB-C, I prefer Lightning because according to them Lightning is more durable than USB-C, which I'm not sure is the case, but anyways, before you go out and buy the 9th gen iPad, definitely wait and see what Apple offers with this budget iPad, because obviously leaks can be false, and so Apple could surprise us with this budget iPad. Maybe they do give us a redesign with a low price. Maybe like Coca Fanta says, they give us the iPad Air 3 design at a low price. That would be great. So yeah, definitely wait for the iPad 10, and if you're not happy with the final product, you can probably find iPad 9 clearance sales once the iPad 10 is available to consumers. So yeah, those are all the details from the case listing, but of course, tell me your thoughts regarding this report in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and also subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video in the icon above on details regarding the M2 iPads, and on that note, see ya peeps.